Okay.
All righty, we are live. Well, hello again, all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching. John and Ellie of Georgia Beer Views back at you today with another edition of Stout Sunday. And joining me, as always, is Michael Kormaroff from Brooklyn, New York. Thanks for joining, Michael.
Always great to be here.
And we've got some awesome stouts, or at least we think so. We're about to find out. Michael, what do you have today?
Okay, this is from a company in Columbia, Missouri called Burr Oak, and it's called Stout Heart. 7.6% alcohol, and I got this at Stout Fest as one of my going home beers. So I'd never seen it before. I'd never heard of the brewery, so I know nothing about it.
Very nice.
This is what it looks like in the glass.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I've got from North Coast Brewing Company, I've got the barrel-aged Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. It is 12.2% alcohol, and this was a $20 bottle, and it was a 1 bottle per customer limit, so it should be pretty damn good.
I'm hopeful.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open mine.
One good thing about a 12-ounce can is it fits into a 16-ounce pint glass, and you can get the whole thing in.
Right. There we go.
It was really good last night, though, to hear that William Kepley has reemerged.
Yes, William Kepley is alive and posting again on Facebook.
No, it's good because he took this hiatus. You know, I was kind of upset about it. You were too. We tried to contact him, he didn't answer. So I was
I was worried about him, but he is doing okay.
Did you ask him yesterday if he's going to try to come on Wednesday with us, or he's? I guess he's holding off a little bit on these.
I don't know. He's limiting his alcohol consumption right now for health reasons, so we'll see. But anyway, here's the pour of mine.
Yours looks nice too.
Yeah, very creamy beige head. Looks black here. Not really good lighting to hold it up to, but I'm sure it's probably a very dark brown. Let me pull the chat up real quick.
Okay.
In case any people are watching. And Tyler Mansell is watching. Cheers, Tyler. And Thrash Metal Homebrew and Barbecue. What's up, Thrash? Good morning to you as well. All right, so go ahead. Let's go ahead and get an aroma on these beers. What are you picking up, Michael?
I'm getting a lot of heavy, like a smoky kind of note on this one. I can smell the roasted malts in it. It smells very nice. I like the smell. The nose is nice. How about yours?
It smells pretty awesome. I'm getting the bourbon barrel presence on the aroma. There's like a definite, well, of course you get the dark roasted barley malt, the breadiness, the caramel, some dark chocolate notes, but there's a fruity component to this one as well. Like, not blueberry, but there's something there, something fruity that is, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that Bourbon County Stout 2017 edition that had the blueberry puree in it. It has like a fruity thing, but I can't really say that it's blueberry, but there's a definite fruity note, and it smells really good. So I'm very pleased with the aroma.
Get any booziness in the aroma?
Not really, no. No booziness on the nose. So we'll see if there's any on the taste. So I'm dying to get into this. So let's go ahead and start drinking them. Cheers, Michael. Oh yeah.
John, you can go first. It looks like you really like it.
Yeah, let me get one more sip. This is awesome.
I'll take another one too.
Okay. Very, very dark and decadent and malty, very sweet, which I like my stouts to be very malt forward. You know, some of these imperial stouts, they have too many hops in them, I think, and it kind of takes away from what a stout should be, in my opinion. This one is very malt forward. You're getting some nice dark chocolate notes. You're getting the bourbon barrel presence is very prevalent with this one. Although not really in a boozy way, you could just tell that this is a barrel-aged beer. There's like some woody notes in there. There's some dark fruit notes. There's some berry notes. It just reminds me a little bit of that Bourbon County Stout with the blueberry added. It has like I guess it is almost like a blueberry type note, which they don't put blueberry juice in here, so I don't really know what that's coming from, but it's definitely in there. Some nice caramel sweetness. The body is medium. It's really not super heavy and syrupy like you might expect for a 12.2 Imperial Stout to be. Carbonation is light. I mean, very, very creamy mouthfeel too. Very smooth, creamy mouthfeel. This just has every positive quality that you could ever imagine in a stout. It's awesome. This is very similar actually to the Bourbon County Stout that I had last year. The finish is really not too boozy either. It is slightly warming as it goes down, so you know you're drinking a higher alcohol beer, but it's very enjoyable. It's got a ton of complexity and flavor, and my first thoughts are that it's, you know, pretty much a world-class beer, and I'm glad I spent the money on it. I mean, it's probably a once-in-a-lifetime thing, so for $20 for a one-and-done type thing, I think, you know, I'm pretty happy with what I'm getting so far. So I'll sip on this a little bit, and you go ahead and describe your beer for us.
Do you think it's comparable to last year's Bourbon County one? Would you say they're equal, or would you say one's better than the other?
I mean, it's been a while since I've had that Bourbon County, and of course we're not getting them this year. But I would say it's right there on the same level. I mean, I gave the Bourbon County Stout variant that I had, I gave it 100 out of 100. And this one is right up there with it. I'm gonna, you know, keep sipping on it as it warms a little bit. Maybe it'll develop.
Have to give it a final number, but I would guess you're gonna at least give it a 99.
Regardless. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be up there. It's gonna be very high. So
maybe another 100. We don't know.
It might be, people. You might be about to witness another perfect score from George Beer Reviews. We'll see.
Let's see what. Let me check out mine.
Right.
Okay, mine. The taste follows the nose. You get the like a char in it, but it's not the char that's in it is not a negative thing. It's a good thing. So you're getting the smoky char on the taste, and I'm getting it's also malty like yours is. Since it's only 7.6, it's not, you know, going to be having, you know, any heavy alcohol issues. Yet you can taste that it's not a regular stout. There's an intensity in it which will tell you it's a little bit higher.
Oh, hold up your beer real quick. We've got Jeff Knapp watching, said he missed the beginning of the videos and the name of the beers. So
this is from Burr Oak Brewing of Columbia, Missouri, and it's called Stout Heart, 7.6% alcohol.
And I've got the barrel-aged Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout, 12.2% alcohol.
I'm really liking mine. It's not as good as yours, but it's for a middle of the road stout, a little bit higher alcohol than your 6% stouts maybe. It's the taste profile is really nice. It's roasty, very good, and it's very drinkable.
Very nice. Let's see a few comments from the chat. Toxic Swiller 40 says, cheers, cheers, Toxic. Cheers to you, Tyler. Thanks for watching. Carpe diem, he says. That's right, Carpe diem. And then we've got a new viewer. I don't think I've ever seen this person in the chat. Random Land is in the chat, says, good morning, peeps. Good morning to you as well, Random Land. Happy Stout Sunday. And Jeff Knapp is still watching, says, those sound great. Yeah, well, they are. Michael was actually going to bring the Bourbon County Stout to compete with the Bourbon Barrel Aged Old Rasputin, but he's got people working on his house today, and probably a good idea that he doesn't drink a 15.2% or 15.4% beer this early in the morning.
What I'm thinking too is I could bring it on a Wild Card Wednesday when I have those 2 hours to drink it, and I probably might have a better time that way because then I can just control it better, timing wise.
Right.
Because I do want to drink one. You remember I want to drink one from last year because I bought 8 last year and I still probably have 4 of them left. I only bought 3 this year and I still have all 3 of those too.
And are they all the standard, the base version?
Well, the only thing that I had access to was the standard because the variants which were available were only available at the very beginning. I think there was a vanilla variant that was available, and one other thing was available. Doug, Giant Space Monkey, turned me on to the one that I thought tasted more cherry forward, and it turned out it was orange, orange midnight, something like that. So I did.
Oh yeah, the midnight orange. Yeah,
I did have a chance to try that, and to me, it was more cherry forward. And I think from my previous tastings of the stout that the base beer is turning out to me personally to be more impressive than the variants I've tried. Now, maybe some of them I never got to try the coffee one years back, which supposedly was amazing. So I can't say I've tried all of them. I haven't. I've only tried a few.
Right. Yeah, the one that I had, the 2017 Northwoods Stout edition that I had, man, that one was, you would have loved that one.
You said that was blueberry forward, which would have been perfect. I love blueberries in beer.
Yeah, it had the blueberry flavor and also had almond extract added, and that one was right at 12%, so very comparable to this one in ABV, which Tyler's asking, what's the ABV on mine? Mine is 12.2%, Tyler. And it is barrel aged in bourbon barrels, and it doesn't say on the label, but I was looking on the internet, and I think it's aged for somewhere between 6 and 8 months. So, which might be another reason why this is a more expensive product, because it's sitting around for so long. In order to make their money's worth, they've got to up the price because
Right.
You know the aging process like that, it takes time, storage, money.
Right.
So
I think the Goose Island Bourbon County is comparable in how long they age theirs too. I think it is also, they say 6 to 8 months. I think it's comparable the way theirs is aged as well.
I think you're right. I think that's why it's such a limited supply, because when they sell their, like all the 2017s, they've already got the 2018s in the barrels, and they can't sell them continuously because it's like, they have to age them for so long. I guess if they got enough, if they expanded like their warehouses and stuff, maybe they could eventually get to the point where they could put it out year round, but I don't think they would want to do that anyway, because the hype that builds around the Bourbon County Stout is just insane.
Right. And the release date and the way that people come into Chicago just to be there when the original variant, the original stout and the variants are released and all that, they would lose a lot in the translation if it was a year-round product.
Right. So let's see. Passion for hunting and fishing is watching. Thanks for joining us. He says, I just tried to, let's see. I just tried with the blueberry. Oh, he just tried a beer with the blueberry flavor. It was delicious. Yeah, I find that fruity flavors, particularly like blueberry, raspberry is another good one. Those type of flavors go really well in these dark beers, these heavier stouts. They just kind of liven them up a little bit. I mean, and who doesn't love like chocolate covered fruit, like a chocolate covered strawberry or chocolate covered? I mean, they just melt. Those flavors just go hand in hand. Yeah, Tyler, it was a very interesting find, this beer. I've never even had the I'm gonna have to try the standard Old Rasputin Imperial Stout now to see how it stacks up to this. Obviously, it's probably not going to be as good as this one, but I'm sure it's probably still an A stout. I can buy a 4-pack, I think, for I think it's $14.99 for a 4-pack of the Old Rasputin, but I mean that's not bad. It's still an Imperial, a high alcohol, very well-renowned stout. So
I can get single bottles at the food court for $2.52. So it's a little bit more than some of the other ones, yet it's still reasonably priced if you think about it.
Still a lot cheaper than we get here because unfortunately, I can't buy a single. When I lived in Columbus, I could break down any 4-pack, 6-pack, 12-pack that I wanted to and buy a single. But here, you pretty much have to buy. You're very limited with the single beers that you can buy here.
And that's the other nice thing. And the next time you go to Trader Joe's, I want you to do this. When you go into their Joseph Browse ones, the bottles, you only have to buy one of those. You don't have to buy 6-packs. In other words, the bottles. I'm not talking about the cans. The cans you bought, you have to buy 6-packs of. That you're talking about that stout you were going to buy. You have to buy a whole 6-pack of that stout from the other series. But there's a whole Joseph Browse bottles, which you can buy. There's like 7 or 8 different ones. Those you can buy singles. We pay $1.16. Yours could be similar. It's gone up a little bit because it used to be a 6-pack for $6. Now it's $7, but still, that's only $1.16. That's a nice price for a craft beer.
Right.
And I consider some of their beers crafty. Maybe they're not all crafty, but at least some of their series are crafty.
Yeah, the one that I had. The $5 bottle of the Belgian style quad was made. It was made by Unibrew, which makes La Fin du Monde, which was rated the #1 beer in the world back, I think, in 2015. It was the Belgian style Tripel that they had. And anyway, it's a great company. So they do have excellent beers, and then they have the standard stuff, the Simpler Times lager, pilsner, and those were actually pretty good too. It's almost like they brewed those beers with the same yeast that they used to make like a Hefeweizen, because it had that like banana fruity note to it, which for a lager and a pilsner you wouldn't necessarily expect, but that's definitely what I was getting.
But you still like those, and you still thought they were good values for the money.
Absolutely, and they're higher ABV too than your standard pilsner and lager. The pilsner was 5.5% alcohol, and the lager was 6.2%. I mean, you don't see too many standard lager beers at 6.2% alcohol. So I thought that was interesting how high alcohol.
More reasonably priced than your typical macro lagers that you would buy, or macro pilsners that you would buy too. So at least they're competitively priced too.
Right. Absolutely. So as I'm sipping on this, it hasn't warmed up too much. We haven't been on here too long, but I'm just enjoying it more and more. Are you ready for a rating?
Yes, I'm ready. You want me to give mine first? Do you want to give yours first?
Well, I can go ahead. It's no surprise that I'm going to give this pretty much a world-class rating. I'm not going to give it a perfect score because I think the what's the one I had? The Goose Island, the Bourbon County Stout that I had was perfect. The Founder CBS, that one was slightly superior to this, but it was also more money. That one was $24.99 for a single. but I'm going to go with a 99 out of 100. I mean,
Okay.
it's so close to perfect. I really can't nitpick and say that there's anything wrong with this. The only reason it doesn't get a perfect 100 out of 100 is because I've had 2 beers in my lifetime that are just slightly better than this, which is why I can't give it a perfect score, but still an excellent beer. And I think it's worth the $20, for any craft beer enthusiast out there that wants to try a world-class stout, pick it up, $20. You may never see it again. And in my state, it's a 1 bottle limit per customer. So, get it while you can, because once it's gone, and you may never see it again. So 99 out of 100 for mine.
Do you think you would go back now and buy another one to cellar, or you think that just getting one is enough?
Well, for me personally, I'll probably buy another one next week if they still have them, and I'll try to hold on to it because I'm holding on to that CBS that I have, but I don't know for how much longer. So I'm gonna try to get maybe one more of these, and then if I get a few that I can sell, or if I have like 4 or 5, let's say, I feel like I would be more likely to actually be able to cellar them versus just having one like I do now, the CBS. So if I start building a collection of world-class beers that I can kind of put aside, I think maybe I'll be able to hold out for a while.
It's funny. I'm on the edge of 2 numbers in my ratings because as it warms, and it is warming a little. It's like you say, we've only been on like 25 minutes, so it's really not warming per se, but it is a little bit warmer than we started. The finish, as it's warming, is really putting kind of a very nice, like almost a sweet note in it. There's malt sweetness in it, obviously, and it's well balanced, which I like. And it's kind of like the combination of the char, the smokiness, with the sweet element is making it really balanced. And another point, if I didn't make before, it's complex in that it's multi notes. It's not just one note. It's very complex. I've never had another beer from Burr Oak. I never heard of Burr Oak, so I had no way to determine what kind of brewery they are. I mentioned to you earlier, I saw it on YouTube. The Beer Whisperer did a couple of reviews of these Burr Oak beers, so I did look at what he said. He liked them, gave them high ratings. I'm going to go with 96. That's my number.
Wow.
So 96 is bordering on A+, but it's a solid A for sure. And I was going to say 95, but as I've been sipping on it, I really do like it. And I don't have access to this. This came as I said, from Stout Fest, one of the beers that I took out. I've never seen this anywhere. If I ever did see something like this again, I would definitely look into buying it. So I don't know what the price point is, but it's extremely good.
Very nice. Let's see a few more comments here. Jim Rudd. Hey, Jim. He's a regular viewer on my channel. Thanks for tuning in. He says, hey, guys, I had the CBS last night. Expensive, but worth it to try. Simply delicious. Yeah, Jim, that's one of my favorite beers of all time. I mean, it's a world-class stout, and it was $24.99 in my area, and it was worth every penny. I've actually bought a total of 3 bottles, so if that tells you anything, at that price, that says something, right? You know, you spend almost 75 bucks pretty much on 3 bottles of beer.
I can get that beer at my food court for $23.12. I have one that I got from Stout Fest. That was the first one I picked up, before we left, and I have one that I'm going to try to hold on to it for a while. But maybe I'll buy another one too, because I have had it in the past, and it's a wonderful beer. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's funny, even at the price point, it's probably worth it in that it's different. than other beers. It's not. It's a combination, I guess, of the maple with the Founders Stout that they put, because I think it's the same base beer that's in the KBS as well. It just has the maple in it as an addition.
Yeah, the KBS is like the base version of CBS. What they do is they take the KBS and then they age it longer in bourbon barrels that once housed maple syrup,
right,
to add a little extra sweetness and I guess booziness as well, because I think it's a little higher ABV because they age it longer in those barrels and it absorbs more of the alcohol.
The KBS you still can get though in 12-ounce bottles, which is an advantage. You don't have to buy a big bottle, so I can get singles of that at the food court for like $5.50, I think, which is expensive, but it's still, it's a world-class beer as well.
Right. Yeah, I think it is. And I just realized too, for all the viewers out there, that this is not a bomber. It's a 16.9 ounce bottle. So some of the other beers that we're talking about are a little bit better of a value because you get the full 22 ounces. This one is only 16.9 because I was pouring the rest of it in the glass. And usually when I'm drinking, I noticed that it didn't pour. I'm like, wait a second, that can't be right. So anyway, it's not a bomber. It's pretty much a 17-ounce bottle,
which is the same amount that's in the Bourbon County. Those are 16.9 ounces as well. Those are not bomber bottles either.
Oh, okay.
So that's the same that it is. Now the CBS is in a bomber bottle.
Right. Let's see. So Tyler says he thinks that he may have had the beer that I'm drinking on draft. I think you've probably, it's possible. Anything's possible out there in Seattle, really. But I know that some places have the old Rasputin, the standard version on draft. This one here is a barrel-aged version that's aged for somewhere between 6 and 8 months. That would be awesome if they did have it on draft, but I find it more likely that it's probably the standard version of this beer.
The reason I think you're right, John, is in order for them to keg that, it would be a big production. Now, I'm not saying they couldn't do it. It would just be a major production. It's not as easy to, they can keg a barrel-aged beer. I'm not saying they can't. It's just would be a major production because they probably don't make the volume in that beer that they do in their standard old Rasputin. So chances are what Tyler had was the original, I would think.
Right. So
which I've had on tap too, and it's a wonderful beer. You should buy it, by the way. You should buy the 4-pack of the old Rasputin. It's
I definitely will. Now that I've had this one and I realize how good this one is, I'm gonna have to pick up a 4-pack of the standard variant. So we've got Crankbait Crisis watching. He says, "Hey guys, hello to you, Crankbait Crisis. Happy Stout Sunday. Thanks for tuning in." And Tyler says that the draft version of the old Rasputin that he had was $9 for a little glass of it.
Well, it's possible. Anything's possible, but even standard old Rasputin would be expensive because it's something that you probably normally wouldn't get in Seattle, even though you obviously have access. It's from Fort Bragg, California, which I think is near a military base, a famous military base. I think Fort Bragg is, a military base in California. I think that's where North Coast is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Is it Fort Bragg, California?
Yeah, Fort Bragg, California.
Okay, because there's a military base there.
Huh. All
Tyler,
right.
did you notice that I'm drinking this again in my lakefront beer glass from Milwaukee? Tyler is from Wisconsin. He's not from Milwaukee, but he's been in Milwaukee.
Alex, the beer master, is watching, says, "What's up? What's going on, Alex? Thanks for watching." Man, we are drinking some world-class stouts this morning. 96 for me, anything above a 95, I don't know how your rating system is, but anything over a 95 is getting towards world-class, and almost, and then a 98, 99, and 100 for me, those are like your world-class beers.
Well, sometimes with one like this, though, I don't even know. In other words, in order This is a standard extra stout ale. Now it has all the components to make it top edge, and it's almost like I'm restricting what I can give it because I have in my number ratings. If I'm going to be giving like 98s and 99s, it has to be to beers that are greater in what they do. But what can you? They're not trying to do that with Burr Oak. They're just trying to make it fine, and it is what it is.
Right. And I mean, if I ever see, you know, that beer, of course I'll check it out. But I don't know, and it's probably more likely that I'll be able to find that than any of the 6 Point stuff because they don't distribute it all down here.
I have no idea what kind of distribution this beer has from Columbia, Missouri. Now, I actually I've had beers from St. Louis, but
well, yeah, I think everybody has. You got Budweiser comes out of St. Louis.
There are some craft brews out of St. Louis as well, which
right.
we can get, but. This was brought by one of those 14 people who came to the Stout Fest, and it was something that looked interesting enough to me that it was worth taking a shot on, and I'm happy I did.
And for anybody out there that doesn't already know, when Michael says Stout Fest, he's referring to this incredible event that he went to in Manhattan, I believe.
Yeah, it's almost exactly a month ago now.
Right, and basically it's all these people that come together and they bring 100 ounces of craft beer companies stouts, and they just all taste great stouts all night. And then there's obviously a lot of beer left over, and they end up taking home whatever's left. So Michael has got some world-class beer in his fridge right now.
Right, and I will drink it. It's just I'm trying to pick spots to drink it where, you know, like here's one I used today. I'll try to do it. Maybe I'll do it again on a Wednesday if I can, or maybe another, you know, Sunday that we do. And it gives me a chance to try things. This is the only 12 ounce I took. Everything else is at least 16. The CBS was a 22 ounce. I had another 22 ounce from one that's Grimm in Brooklyn. And the other point I think I've made to you before and to other people in the group, it was definitely very New York City centric in that people brought stuff from Other Half and from Grimm and from these other companies in Metro New York. But there were some national companies as well, so it wasn't just one thing. But the New York stuff was the stuff we mostly drank.
Right.
Because that was the...
Jeff Knapp says Stout Fest sounds like a good time. Well, I think Michael will agree.
Look, like I've said, I would do it again, but I know more now than I did before I went, and it eclipsed anything I could have imagined, to say the least. And my friend gave me a big buildup, so I mean, it wasn't like he didn't tell me what was going to happen. I guess I couldn't have, you know, really understood the gravity of how, you know, it could get so big. Again, it was the most people they've ever had. They had never had 14 people before. I think they'd had 9 before was the most. And this was a case where extra people got invited because it was at a legal office. So the owner brought a couple of people with him, and that pushed it over the number.
Nice. So Tyler says that he looked up on Google. He looked it up on Google, and there's a place out in Seattle called Chuck's Hop Shop that apparently had the barrel-aged version of the Old Rasputin that I'm drinking on draft. So
it's certainly possible.
I would definitely pay $9 for a draft version of this, even if it's a small glass, just to try it. I'm sure it's a perfect 100 out of 100 on draft. Because everything is slightly better on tap, it seems like. And then let's see. It's listed was 2017 Old Rasputin barrel age. Okay. So yeah, you had the this one. I don't know if this is 2017 or 2018. The label looks kind of old. It doesn't say anything about when it was packaged, or so honestly, I don't know. Let me see if I can hold it up to the light. If there's, yeah, the bottle is pretty much black. I can't see anything. Yeah, no age statement, no nothing. So this could be the 2017 2017 version for all I know. I mean, the label, you see the label's kind of worn. I don't know if you guys could see that, but the label looks kind of old. I mean, I really have no idea. Anyway, I don't know. Alex, I got this beer at a place in Fairburn, Georgia called World of Beverage. It's like basically, it's like the size of a Walmart, and all they have is beer, wine, and liquor in there. That's where I got this. So, and yeah, it's just an incredible. That's going to drive me nuts. I can't believe they don't have a year like 2017 version, 2018, nothing. Anyway, if I figure it out, I'll do a little research. If I figure it out, I'll post it in the description below at some point. But anyway, let's see. We've, I guess we could wrap this live edition of Stout Sunday up here. I'm trying to see if there's anything else that we need to let the viewers know about before we get off of here, but nothing's coming to mind. I'm almost finished, actually. This is the last of the...
I only have 12 ounces. I'm down to just that. Right.
I mean, for a 12.2% beer, it's scary how easy this stuff goes down. I guess I find that a lot of the imperial stouts, the higher ABV imperial stouts that are made, like the Bourbon County stouts, this one here, I had one from the brewery, the macaroon or coconut macaroons or whatever that. No, the name of the beer was the Brewery Bakery, but it had like I can't talk now. Toasted coconut in there and chocolate and all that. That one was 13%, and that one I think was like a 98 or 99 as well. So all these high alcohol, well-made imperial stouts, they go down smoother than a lot of your standard beers, which is scary because you get into a lot of trouble if you're not careful with this type of stuff, because it doesn't really taste like you're drinking alcohol. It just tastes like you're drinking, like these imperial stouts to me, they're like dessert in a glass, right, for the most part. Some of them are more hoppy, but like this one, malt forward, dark chocolate, roasty, toasty, caramel, sweet. I mean, it's like dessert. It's got that creamy mouthfeel, so it's like dessert in a glass.
Right. And it is something which you do develop a taste for, certainly. People can't pick up one like you're drinking or one I'm drinking and just, if they were just not really big stout drinkers. But it is something which, as you drink it, you can see the complexity in it and how well brewed it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And like if you've never had an imperial stout of this caliber, like 10, let's say 10% and up on the alcohol, in the alcohol range. Say you've had Guinness and then you drink something like this. This is probably going to knock your socks off. I mean, it maybe not in a good way. You might find it very like almost cloyingly sweet, and that weird flavor, not weird to me, but like the barrel aged stuff, it has a very distinct flavor. And if you're used to drinking, I think Guinness is 4.2 or 4.4% alcohol, very roasty, toasty, but not very, very sweet, just like a standard stout with a lot of dark, toasty bread notes. This, this type of stuff will really kind of throw you off guard, I think. But like Michael said, you kind of develop, as you get more and more into craft beer, you start to develop a taste for this type of stuff. And once your tongue, your palate gets used to these higher ABV beers, I mean, there's really no going back for me. Like at this point, I don't really see, like, other than doing a beer review or something like that, I wouldn't just go out and buy Guinness. I mean, nothing against Guinness. I think it's an excellent beer, but I'm just beyond that. Like I'm just at the point where I don't know. All I want to drink now are these super high alcohol imperial stouts.
John has graduated from Guinness to heavy duty action.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I love Guinness. I mean, or I used to love Guinness, and I know it's an excellently crafted beer, but like I'd rather just spend more money and get a nice imperial stout and drink that. And
And also, John,
4.2% for a stout to me is too light. Like that, there needs to be more alcohol, more substance for that dark of a beer. I mean, because it's not sessionable. 4.2% alcohol. Those are like your session beers, and a stout really shouldn't be that. So, like for me now, looking back, like it really doesn't make sense for me to drink Guinness anymore.
and with craft beer getting to the point where it is now, where there are thousands of breweries that are all doing examples of stouts and imperial stouts, you probably want to try more different ones as well to see how they showcase their skill at brewing the stout.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. We've got some more comments now. See, I'm glad we stayed on a little longer. Now we can read these great comments from all our wonderful viewers out there. So Tyler says he feels like he's a part of an elite league of beer drinkers now. Well, you are if you got the Old Rasputin barrel aged on draft. That's like, you know, a unicorn, you know. Purple Gang is tuning in now and watching. Says, good morning, fam. Good morning to you, Purple Gang, and happy Stout Sunday. Tyler says, World of Beverages. That place sounds like Toys R Us for alcoholics. Yeah, it pretty much is, Tyler. Jeff says, I think you have reached that elite status, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler's definitely he lives in such a great area too for craft beer, Jeff, that I mean he gets just an outstanding selection both at the stores and he's got so many great craft breweries. He was telling me the other night a new craft brewery just opened up like 2 blocks down the street. He could walk to it from his apartment. So I mean, like, what? That's incredible. Which Michael has the same stuff in New York. He can walk down the street to a craft brewery if he wanted to. And let's see. You should get. So Jeff Knapp is saying we should get the 200 anniversary pack. There are some heavier ones in there. Well, from who, Jeff? Who makes the 200 anniversary?
What brewer is that?
What's that?
What brewer is the 200 anniversary?
Oh yeah, that's what we're asking. Yeah. What brewery or what brewer are you talking about for the 200 anniversary pack? Alex, the Beer Master, says, hey, John, it was nice talking to you. Hope to talk to you soon. Yeah, Alex, always a pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. We always enjoy your comments. Jacob Downey now is tuning in and is saying good morning as he rubs his eyes like he's just getting up. And then Jeff Knapp says, so Jeff Knapp says Guinness. So they have a 200 anniversary pack from Guinness, apparently.
I have never heard of that.
Me neither. I do know that they have a special edition stout now that is aged in bullet bourbon barrels. I know Jay, our good buddy over there at Louisiana Beer Reviews, did a review of that, but that's all I can think of. I didn't realize they had other beers like that.
They have Guinness at my food cart. I'll ask the buyer if she can get a hold of this.
Yeah, and I'm still looking for the Guinness Bullet Bourbon Barrel Aged Stout. I haven't seen that one yet.
Now, did you like they had an export stout? Did you like that?
Honestly, I never tried it. They had so much, it seemed like backstock. I hesitated. I was like, well, I could just get this anytime. Which anybody out there that's watching, don't make that mistake. I do that way too much. I'm like, oh, they have so much. I could always come back later and buy it. Well, 9 times out of 10, you're wrong. That stuff disappears very quickly. So I went back to the same store a couple weeks later to buy a 6-pack of it, and it was all gone. So I never got the chance to try it.
So sometimes you have to go at the first opportunity and say, if I want it now, I have to buy it.
Exactly. That's why I went ahead and I didn't want to think too long about this one here. I didn't buy it the first time, but I went back, 3 or 4 days later, and I bought it because I knew, even though they had a lot, I told you, I said it seemed like they had a ton of it on the shelf. But I have a feeling that once people catch on to it, it's gonna sell out, like it's gonna go like wildfire, you know? So, all right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. we've been on here for, I don't know, going on 40 minutes, I guess. That's typical for these types of streams. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in and commenting and joining us for this pretty much world-class edition of Stout Sunday. Thanks, Michael. It's always a pleasure. Michael is a regular on these Stout Sundays, so we probably do another one next Sunday as well, I would imagine, if you're available.
Ready. I'm going to take my last sip. Cheers,
all right,
everybody.
So cheers, everybody. That'll do it for this live examination. I hope you're all having a wonderful Stout Sunday. And until next time, everybody, cheers.